What an intro! You did that, Migo?
Yeah, it took some time writing into it, but I'm glad that it all
Grabe po
adapted.
talaga.
Wala pa rin yan sa host natin. Ang galing theaters thing. Grabe naman ang
Grab,
energy
I was about to praise your composition. Iba talaga pag mga taga-music stream. We don't need to get no copyright na instrumentals. We compose it on our own nga naman sa ADT. Anyways, hey listeners, I am Rigel.
And I am Migo.
This is our podcast, episode 1. Welcome to the Breakout Room, Reconnecting's campaign podcast.
Through this podcast, our team strives to reconnect and talk about the importance of the relationship between teachers and students during the online setting.
Ate Kuya Ma'am Sir, this is for you.
So, Rigel, season 2 na tayo sa online learning setup. Kamusta ka naman dyan?
Honestly, I've been really longing to visit Lasal kasi ever since I entered grade 11, hindi pa ako nakatapak sa Lasal. Kasi technically, when I did the entrance exam, I was in 10th grade. As much as nasasanay na ako with how it goes online, the Zoom, the Google Meet, the Canvas, I really wish we could experience F2F learning soon. Ma-experience ba natin?
It's been holding out.
Abangan.
It's been holding out too long. Yeah. Let's hope we eventually experience it.
Yeah. So, for our debut episode, we will be talking about the digital transition from physical classes to online classes. We need to discuss this kasi alam natin na maraming makaka-relate. The parents, the siblings, the students, and of course, the teachers. Kaya it's entitled The Digital Transition, along with our honored guest speakers that are also part of the ever-growing Lasallian Arts.
Anyways, enough for the chit-chat. Let us now introduce our handsome na napakapoging speakers, Mr. Basty Gomez, a 120 Visual and Multimedia Arts student, and Mr. Carlo Flores, our per-div professor and dance moderator from the Animove.
Let's hype it up!
Welcome to our stream, guys. Welcome to our podcast. Let's go.
Welcome to our podcast.
Hey. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So, before we start with our main discussion, likewise Zoom, Google Meet, and etc., magkamustahan muna po tayo. Sir Carlo, kamusta po kayo considering na it's your second year of teaching online?
For me, I'm just trying to manage, especially for this academic year. Because I'm not gonna lie, it's been really challenging. No? I mean, doing everything online and not interacting as much compared to face-to-face. It's been really challenging, but I guess just by being with the students, it kind of makes things a lot lighter. Yeah.
That's good to hear po, Sir Carlo.
Anyway, that's good. At least you have a way of connecting with them kahit na limited. And I guess we can ask our next speaker, Basty. How are things right now? What's life like studying for the arts for 2 consecutive years online?
Well, I mean, like every other strand has its own gripes with the online classes. But I feel like, the arts and sports got hit harder because like we're doing theater, we're doing visual arts, we're doing dance online. It's hard to translate that visual and face-to-face medium into this online setup. But thanks to the teachers, the students, the admin, everyone's so supporting of the arts and design that we're making it work. We are reconnecting.
Yeah, because right now in this situation, what we need most is support to find ways for us to perform our arts in this situation. Anyways?
Indeed, I agree. Okay, that's good to know that our speakers are doing well. Let us now proceed to our main agenda. Along the way, let's try to make this really conversational. So for our first question.
Okay, so for our first question, what do you think is the biggest difference between face-to-face and online classes in terms of relationship between teachers and students? So I guess we can start with Sir Carlo this time. Can you explain your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Actually, just to share some of my experience during face-to-face, I usually spend a lot of time with my students, even after classes, just to hang out. And if ever they have random questions, not necessarily even about the subject, but we usually go out to amphitheater and just chill, relax, and just enjoy our pace and our company for each other. And I guess that's what made me more excited personally per class to actually just have fun with my students. And I guess right now I really do we all both sides try their best to actually to connect. Like for my class, I don't usually ask everyone to turn on their cameras anymore, but surprisingly, there are a lot of students who would still, and I really do appreciate it because hey, I mean, we would love to see each other even through online, right? And I guess it's something amazing that both, I don't know, both sides would really exert so much effort. But yeah, the thing is, even during discussion, just seeing your students laugh, smile, it would give me some reassurance that they're actually having fun, or they're actually, just understanding and learning the lesson. But nowadays, it's more difficult. So I guess it's more on just pushing through with somewhat being blinded at the same time. But yeah, I guess that's the main difference.
I do like na during face-to-face, you spend a lot of time with your students because that makes a huge difference to some connections that we have in face-to-face. And right now, during quarantine, our connections, our relationships with each other is a really huge issue that we have right now. And I'm glad na kahit papano, yung mga ibang students, hindi sila napipilit mag-on-cam kasi marami talagang students kapag napilitan ay ayaw nila. And I like that aspect of it. So, anyways, let's move on to our second speaker, Basty.
So like when Sir Carlo said he usually hangs out with his teacher, with his students after class, I'm exactly like that. I like to abangan mo to, sir. Pag nasa DLSU na tayo, you will see me after classes, in between breaks, I'll be in your faculty. Tatambay lang. I'll get a separate chair. May pull-out chair po ako para lang tumambay po sa faculty niyo po. And then,
Natakot ako sa aabangan ako. Kala ko ano yun.
Grabe, mag-aabang sa akin.
oh. But yeah, I mean, like, honestly, hanging out with like the cool teachers, like, it just makes the whole student experience a lot better. Like, you can feel na they are just people and they like to hang out with you, and then like there are things beyond their subject and beyond their teaching that you get to know about them. Like, that's why I love hanging out with teachers after school, and like I'd even eat lunch with them, and I miss that about face to face. I miss that most of all.
And I do agree na because of the situation right now, ang laking pagkukulang nun. And the advantage of getting to know your teachers personally will help you learn so much more than just in class. And that transcends beyond it, you know? And I guess very well said, Basty. I like your answer, and we can move on to question 2.
Before proceeding to question 2, I guess the equivalent of pulling out a chair and staying in the faculty room ngayong online classes is yung pag magpapaiwan ka sa Zoom. Tapos like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, sir, ma'am, what's up?
Exactly.
Tell me about your life. Di ba, Basty?
Magkikwentuhan si Basty after classes. Minsan makakatulog ako sa klase tapos magugulat na lang ako, si Basty nagsasalita kasama yung teachers.
Sim.
Yeah.
Listeners, wag tularan si Migo. Natutulog sa klase. Anyways, proceeding to our second question. Since both of us, all of us, naranasan na natin yung transition ng physical classes and online classes, how have you overcome this obstacle of this abrupt change to continue having a great relationship with each other? So I'll start with Basty.
Can you repeat the question?
Paano mo na-overcome yung obstacle ng abrupt change na to in order to have in order to continue a great relationship with your teacher or your classmates?
All right, thank you. I lagged. So like, I didn't really overcome anything. I just had to push through it, you know. I didn't have to jump over this hurdle. I really had to go through and face all of the challenges. Like, okay, admittedly, in the first days of online classes, I did not know how to use Zoom. Naiwan na lang recording. It was playing in the background. Tas ako on cam pa, on mic pa ako. Like, everything was happening around me, and the meeting was still recording, and I had no idea how to stop it. I felt so, I don't know, illiterate pagdating dun. So I really found like pushing through it with friends, with other people, with connecting with reconnecting with connecting with other people. I mean, like, yeah, like the teachers and the other students, like especially in ADB, our GC is always noisy. While we always help each other out, we always send links. And then with teachers, they're like understanding and saying like, "Oh, okay, ganto like that." And it's honestly just a big weight off your shoulders that you didn't have to go through this alone. Like at least you have some semblance of face to face because you're still connecting with other people kahit papano, you know? You feel me?
Yeah, I agree. Totoo yung sa ADB. I can attest to it kasi Basty was a classmate of mine. And even though na we haven't met each other face to face yet, iba yung connection. And it's so weird isipin na, I haven't met these people yet. And then they feel like family. So, thank you for that. Shout out ADD
Shout out to ADD, man.
2021.
Let's go.
Alright, so kay Sir Carlo naman, considering na may orgs din po kayo, Sir Carlo, how did you overcome this obstacle po?
Actually, it's more on trying to manage my expectations. Kasi I remember during the first few terms, yung first time mag-online, uh, I was pretty much surprised. And to be honest, I was mostly blaming myself with a lot of things. Parang, why am I not doing enough? Is it because I'm not making, I'm not too, how should I say this? Is it not too funny enough? Or am I not teaching good enough? I'm not getting the same energy as I did back in face to face. And to be quite honest, that really affected how I approach my students. But at some point, I really push myself even more. Na sometimes it might look more, how should I say this, forced or pilit, trying to connect because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel the same. But after some reflection, no, and just realizing that this is not the same. Where we are right now, it's normal. It's not normal. So why would I expect the things that happen during a face-to-face to online? Because I remember talaga, especially with one of my advisory classes, I'm not gonna drop this section na lang. Pero I was very much upset with myself na parang, bakit ganun? I can't seem to connect that much. And yeah, I guess I tried to manage how I expected things. I tried to be more accepting of the situation that okay, things are really difficult. Maybe people are just more tired or people just wants to listen right now. Diba? It's completely different and I shouldn't beat myself up for it. So yeah, I guess it's really about really trying to see how the people are right now and stop comparing what today is compared to face to face. It's a completely different situation.
I agree with that, sir. A professor of mine din, sabi niya, na wala this is the thing we have now. We have if hindi natin siya tatanggapin, we can't move forward. We can't have fun. We can't see the bright side in this setup. So to our listeners, I guess we should just embrace what's going on, even though na it's not normal. It should not be normalized. Pero ayun. For our third question.
Alright, so coming into our third question. Do you think the schedule of subjects affects the relationships between teachers and students? So, alam naman natin to. Let's start with Basty. May epekto ba yung oras ng klase?
Not gonna lie, yes, to the extreme.
Man, for real.
So,
Can you
my
elaborate
gosh.
more into that?
Alright. So, we had this teacher. He, like, it was the first class, 7:30, and like, oh my gosh, like, super sipag niya and super, like, he's a fun guy to be around. And then when he talks, he really knows his content. He really knows like how to teach his students. He can get the class to participate. The thing is, it was a first class in in the morning, 7:30 in the morning. I have to admit, tulog pa ako noon. Like my eyes were still shut until 8:30. And then by 8:30, the class was halfway done and I'm like, anong nangyari? Like honestly.
Guys, you've been stuck up for half of the subject.
Yeah, but like so the next term, he's still our teacher. And then I saw our sched. It was like 2:30 and I'm like, oh, much better. Like then in that in that subject, I really paid attention to him. I really learned. I really actually engaged, and the whole class engaged as well because it was 2:30. We had lunch. We were more energized. We were getting in the groove of things, and like that that scheduling really affects us, man. Like not just students, also the teachers. Like how their energy comes off across. Like relating to Sir Carlo, what he said. Like if you're in the morning and you're giving out energy because it's your job, and the students it's not like they're not reciprocating that energy to like be as participative or something, like alangan maano ka sa teacher, like ay sayang morning class eh. Pero yeah, just like the whole thing with online classes is hindi mo like everyone can just off cam and on off mic, so like you don't really know sino yung mga tulog, sino yung mga early birds. Like it's just hard to gauge the audience when you're like when it's the morning, when it's the afternoon, and the whole schedule and everything, you know.
I personally do agree with you, Basti, because speaking from personal experience, I myself tend to fall back in morning classes because when I listen into a teacher, I suddenly get surprised na, oh my God, tulog na pala ako, nakasarado na yung mata ko. Tapos magigising naman bigla, oh my God, 10 minutes after the class, what do I do now, man? So, it's a common issue for students, and I guess the thing to this is we need discipline in ourselves to try and listen to the teachers, but as much as we try to, you can't really avoid cases in which, students will fall short in classes and being attentive because there are a lot of factors affecting morning classes. Speaking from my experience and Basti's experience as well. So, I guess we can now move to the teacher's perspective. Sir Carlo, ano po yung thoughts niyo dito sa 7:30 2 p.m. classes?
Hello, actually, just to add lang there with what you said with different factors. I mean, the mere fact that we all are in our very own private spaces, diba? Sometimes not too conducive for like learning. But sometimes, I mean, for some students, maybe the closest private space that they could get is near their bed. So, andun na yung kama nyo, niyaya ka while you're in your 7:30. So, sobrang daming factors talaga. And the mere fact, of course, knowing our students, diba? I know our students would usually work hard, pull an all-nighter. So, of course, dami dyan pagod. So, imagine waking up 7:30, you completely exhausted, and your room is a bit cold, your chair is too comfortable. Of course, there are so much factors. So just to answer the question lang then, actually as a teacher, it's also been difficult for me to handle 7:30 a.m. classes. Because I don't like compare, but just to put the situation, no. Of course, back then I had to commute. So I gotta walk, I gotta keep the blood flowing. Now, when I wake up, I usually just take a quick shower, but mostly I'm still sleepy. So I still don't get that enough energy, and now I try to force it or like bring it out. But since I'm forcing it, it becomes more tiring for me. Yeah. And the mere fact that I don't see my students, diba? Yun, mas grabe yung energy na lumalabas. Pero the wonderful thing about this is that I get to appreciate more of the students na kahit na ganun yung nangyayari. 7:30 a.m., diba, they always recite, they say, "Good morning, sir." Actually, all the time nagugulat ako pag may nag-good morning kasi bangag ako. But it really wakes me up kasi the mere fact na these kids are here doing their stuff, are ready to listen, and I'd love to reciprocate. And yeah, I mean, 7:30 a.m., it's no joke, especially when you're trying to learn because you're starting to warm up for the day. But yeah, it gets tiring and it gets us to exert a little more effort than usual. Yeah.
The cold showers really do help but getting that extra push is really difficult in terms of the teachers and the students. And sayang lang talaga, there are tons of classes that are very enjoyable, as mentioned by Basty, and as mentioned by Sir Carlo na nag-effort yung teachers. Sayang lang talaga na yung time mismo ng class, kung hindi lang 7:30, mas magiging enjoyable for the students. And I do believe na with more personal effort or with a little bit of adjustments, we can make 7:30 a.m. classes. We just need to push ourselves into it. Just need to make it a mutual effort. So, anyways, appreciate the stand on it, Sir Carlo. And let's move on to the fourth question.
Yeah, with the third question then, I think naka-affect din yung damage ng body clocks na hinarap ng both parties. Kasi, personally, ma-expose ako dito, but okay, fine. Dati, F to F, the pinakapuyat na I can reach is 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and then I sleep. Ngayon, umaabot ako ng 9 a.m. classes nang hindi natutulog. And it really affects my productivity kasi I have no sleep, I have no rest, and then I have to listen to this subject. And it's not the teacher's fault, it's my fault. Pero I guess it has something to do with the requirements then and the way of pangangapa. How are we going to manage all of this stuff? How are we going to cope with this and that? So yeah. Fourth question, do you think the 7-7 schedule and the 14th week schedule make a difference with the relation between students and teachers? Why and why not? So I'll direct this question first to Sir Carlo.
Okay. So, personally, I prefer the 7-7 split. The mere fact that it's actually wonderfully adjusted to the students in terms of loading. Because I remember seeing my advisory schedule no 7-7. Para I can see like enough readers or breaks. But now, like, just seeing the full-on weeks, nakikita ko yung lunch nila 15 minutes, diba? And I can't imagine what the student would go through. Maybe for some, not eating lunch while trying to learn. And we know how that's like, diba? It's hard to concentrate. Or for some, maybe they try to eat while studying. But the thing is, I guess it's just more, how should I say this? The time, the schedule, and also the requirements at some point for students are also manageable compared to having a full-on 14 weeks or 13 weeks. Yeah.
I do agree
Okay,
with that
sir.
personally.
Yeah. And siguro with the 14th week, we really appreciate the teachers na nagsasabi na it's okay if you eat during my class. Just don't make it to just distracting kasi sobrang gipit na yung schedule ng students and makikita talaga yung mga considerate classmates, considerate officers, and considerate teachers. And we thank you for that. Kasi we would never have survived 14 week kung wala yung consideration na yun and care. So, moving on to Basty.
Oh my gosh, there's so much you say about that as a student. Oh, pero
Go ahead. I mean,
Go
nothing's
ahead,
stopping you.
Yeah.
Ilabas mo na yan.
okay, so all right. In our first term as 120, we were like pushed into the 7-7 schedule and we were all like, what? Paano to? Punong-puno pa yung classes natin like that. Then when we realized, oh, it's every other class, that's for the first 7 weeks. And then every other class for like we were like, parang you get that feeling na, may breaks tayo in between. So we only have 1 class this day. We only have 2 classes. We like 3 classes. Like it's more manageable, like I feel like I can do my work in between classes and then have enough energy to listen to class the next one. And then the thing with teachers, like I love when the teacher's actually passionate about their job, like in the 7-7 they are good teachers, but you only get to like spend like 7 meetings with them or 14, like, and it's just like you cherish the moments, you cherish the class hours more, and you actually want to listen kasi onti lang naman yung time natin. And then meron din yung mga teachers na medyo terror na that will stay with you for the whole 14 weeks and you're like, why didn't you, can we stop? Pwede ba?
Naku po! Expose na naman!
Like, because it's such a schedule that is like tailor fit for us. Like Sir Carlo said, it's kind of good for us that we can manage it. And hopefully, I didn't know the teacher's side when it was 7-7, but hopefully they also managed it. And with everything, it's just with a 14-week schedule. Okay, with the 7-7, at least you're balancing like 3 to 5 subjects, and then you can put it out in the week. You can submit early. In the 14-week, you're balancing all of the subjects in that week. And then sometimes, even kahit minor requirements, hindi mo magawa kasi ang daming na-pile up na requirements after that and before that. So, it's just so wild to imagine the 121, they get pushed into the 14-week agad. It's like, at least as 120, we had a dip in the water. Pero sila, binato parang bola straight into the water.
Hinagis.
Yeah. Wala parang tinuro na mag-jive. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think din siguro na both schedules have their pros and cons. Like sa 7-7 schedule, hindi mo masyado may kilala yung prof mo, yung subject kasi it was kinda a bit rushed. But yung 14th week, may kilala mo ng sobra-sobra, pati yung mga requirements. Sobrang makikilala mo kasi you're going to spend like a lot of days with this subject. So, yeah, I guess that's just life goes. So for our 5th question.
Okay, so in relation to the 4th question, I do agree na, oh my god, the 14-week schedule, you're basically getting to know it to the fullest. You're doing everything at full push. You're getting all the requirements whammed at you, but other than that, you should at least get some time to get to know your teachers, get to know the vibe of how the environment is with them. Pero still, malaki pa rin yung differential between the two. So, okay, for our 5th question.
Yeah.
Can the 7-7 schedule and 14-week talk benefit to other schools or universities? So, okay, I guess we can start with the student perspective this time, si Basty. Ano sa tingin mo? Like, may maitutulong ba ito for other universities, Basty?
Alright, other universities and other schools. Like honestly, when I heard about LaSalle and then my uncle who was a LaSalle alumni, like said, mahirap talaga ang LaSalle, you have to adjust talaga. I didn't know that even in the online setting, it would be this hard. Kasi I'm seeing other schools. For example, I think I recall Ateneo. Like, they have like at least 1 hour a day or ganun. Like, 1 hour a day. Can you believe that? I cannot believe that. Kasi whole day yung schedule. Whole schedule natin eh. Whole day. Our whole morning till afternoon. Actually, till night actually. Kasi we're still doing the homework that we want to pass on time or that we're plotting it out. Like, as Lasallian, umay naman pare. Pero and other schools.
Emphasis on the umay. Yeah,
Emphasis.
Go for it.
And on other schools kasi, like, I don't think they'll benefit from the 7-7 or 14-week schedule kasi they have their own thing going on. Like, they have it either have a lighter workload or maybe even a harder workload, or even like they have their own like parang IHL, yun, independent learning sessions. Like they have, I know Saints Co has independent learning week for their modules and stuff. And I think actually LaSalle can learn from other schools because like it's also like a transition to face-to-face kasi in face-to-face parang ganito daw yung sked natin. Pero we're not transitioning yet. It's been a long time. We're waiting for the transition for a long time. But yeah, if you can, LaSalle, dahan-dahan lang pare. Easy lang. Pwede ba?
Man, I love the boldness of Basty here talking, but anyways, those are straight facts.
Halatang may hinanakit eh.
Alam kang nag-hold back pa to
May
si
hinanakit
Basty.
eh. Green school, oh. May hinanakit po.
But I gotta love that perspective, man. As a student, I do agree with Basti as well. That we can learn from other universities. Although speaking to our 7-7 schedule, it was actually a really good system in my opinion. And that's my take on it. And I believe now other schools can apply it and we can apply other concepts from other schools as well. Basically a mutual fixing on the situation. You just gotta fix it, work on it. So, okay.
I
We got
agree.
the student perspective down, right? Let's move on to what Sir Carlo thinks, the teacher's perspective on the matter.
Ayan. Di ako mag-get over talaga sa sinabi ni Basti. Babad na babad yung umay eh. Sobrang babad eh. So we really see talaga diba kung gaano kabigat yung dinadala ni Basti all this time. Oh man. But just to be honest, 7-7 split for me, it was really a good system for me. And so if you're going to ask me, in terms of trying to see or compare the well-being of my students back then, it was a huge difference. So in terms of trying to apply this to other schools, it's kind of hard to tell. Just like what Basi said, we have no idea what those schools are going through. So I guess, but by just having that option, maybe schools could actually have needs assessment of their students, actually knowing what they need, especially during these times na iba-iba tayo ng pangangailangan, di ba? Who knows? 7-7 might be applicable to other schools depending on how the students actually need it. Kasi the reason why I love 7-7 so much is that natuwa ako sa initiative ng Lasal na they actually saw, okay, maybe iba yung setup ngayon online. Iba yung pangangailangan ng estudyante. We might need a different kind of approach to actually address this concern. And maybe just having that kind of initiative and that thought, no, parang, okay, this is a completely different time. Maybe we need a different approach. So not necessarily siguro 7-7, but that kind of initiative towards the students, it could actually be applied to all schools, diba? Trying to adjust to the needs and the current times of the students.
I do agree, sir. Kasi when it comes to systems, you can never really call a system perfect. It will always have its flaws no matter what. And I do believe that to help cater to these flaws, applying from other schools, as sir mentioned, will help a ton in improving the situation of our students and our teachers as well and the way they teach. Because the better the system that the teachers speak in, the more the students can learn and the more they can apply their learnings onto their own personal matters and personal life. Because going to school, going to university, you're going to take up a lot of information and you're going to have to manage that properly. These systems will help eventually the student develop something that he or she can take onto his or her life. And yeah,
Yes.
that's it for the fifth question.
Yeah, and the manner of reconnecting with both sides, with the students and the teachers, even the families as well, catering to their needs nga as mentioned by Sir Carlo, and yung aside sa academics, yung pag-iisip ng sanity nila, yung mental health nila while doing these things in this setup. Kasi we never know what's going on inside their houses. Yung iba, may mga personal problems. Yung iba, pandemic, nakakaranas ng conflicts with COVID. So, and I think that's a good thing that schools should consider, which is weighing the two, that both should be prioritized. So thank you so much for that insightful discussion and chikahan na rin and labasan ng sama ng loob.
Salamat,
Sir
guys.
Carlo and
Napaka-honest ng lahat dito.
Oh my.
Exposed na kayo sa ating listeners. So as much as we want to keep this going, we have to wrap things up for Breakout Room number 1. So before we let you guys go, do you have any last advices, message sa ating listeners? Let's start with Basty.
I have to say na even in this online setup, and even ang dami kong reklamo, oh my. It's just that yeah, be hopeful. Like that's all what we can do. Like you just have to understand, like in reconnecting, that other people are going through, or like have gone through much worse or much better, and we just have to be understanding and empathetic to everyone, teachers, students, family members, faculty. Like we really can't understand each other's situations. We can't put each other in in each other's shoes, but we have to be empathetic and understanding while we try to connect and while we are reconnecting.
Thank you, Basti. Sir Carlo.
For me, I guess you just have to acknowledge that these are just not normal times. We do our best to make it normal, but as we all know, it's more and more difficult. And I guess just one reminder to all of our listeners out there is that you don't have to go through it alone. Sometimes just merely having a conversation with your friends, with family, with your crush Joa, with your dog. Sometimes it just reminds you and rekindles something in you. And I know ngayon, di ba, parang we feel more isolated due to just talking to our screens, di ba? But I just want to remind all of you that you don't have to go through it alone. Talk to a friend. Or maybe just you reaching out to a friend may actually help that friend. And as we all know, just being reminded that we have someone in our lives could go a very.
Thank you so much, Sir Carlo. That's a very beautiful message. I agree na all of us, even in these trying times, let's do our best to be there for each other, even we're kilometers apart. And whatever it is that you're going through, listeners, successes, failures, ups and downs, you are valid. So, that's it. Thank you so much again, Basti and
Thank
Sir
you guys
Carlo. We
for
really
attending our
appreciate that
podcast.
discussion.
Huge.
Sobrang ganda ng ating napag-usapan. And that concludes our debut episode of the Breakout Room. So, how are you feeling, Migo?
Oh, I feel great, Rachel. Congrats sa atin, and I'm glad
Yeah,
na
congrats.
pulled it off.
Yeah, and aside from that, we are able to somehow reconnect with our listeners, with our audience, even though na hindi nila tayo nakikita, hindi pa nila tayo nakakasama, naririnig lang nila tayo. Anyways, for our next episode, we will be talking about some hacks, experiences, and advices regarding the online setup with, again, two amazing guests from the arts and design track. Exciting! Am I right?
I couldn't agree more, Rigel. I heard pa nga na our podcast two speakers are from the Performing Arts Division naman ng ADT. Tama ba?
Ha! Nice try, Migo. But I do prefer to leave some mystery details sa ating listeners. I guess we just have to hear it for ourselves. Thank you, listeners. Again, these are your hosts, Rigel.
And Migo?
We hope you learned something. Till our next episode.